So another day and another mass shooting in America. Today's Wednesday, the 14th of February in America. It's Thursday, the 15th of February in Australia, where I live. And that's the news that I heard soon after I got up this morning. So, who is Jacob Wetterling? Jacob Wetterling was the victim of a bullet himself. But he was an abduction victim, so it was a different kind of thing. And Nathan Breeze, he was the victim of a bushfire. Kind of interesting that in the United States, the Republican Party, you could say, are the party of climate change denial. Is that a wrong thing to say? But I think with Donald Trump as president, and with the history of statements that have been made by Republican politicians, I think that's a fair statement. So Nathan died in a bushfire, so he doesn't like climate change deniers. Jacob was the victim of a sexual predator, and discrimination against gay people doesn't really help that issue, because having people living in secrecy and in the closet does actually make it more likely that you're going to have that kind of thing happening. But what about something more obvious, like the ready availability of guns leading to mass shootings? You would think something that obvious, you could not possibly be against gun law reform when you've got so many shootings happening. Yet, that's exactly what we see. Jake is Satan. Why is Jake Satan? Well, Satan's not the one blocking gun law reform in the United States. And Satan's not the one who is denying climate change. Another thing that's killing people now is global warming. And the extreme weather that's happening as global warming picks up pace, a bit like a bullet leaving the barrel of a gun. Two different issues: climate change denial and gun violence. Jacob was he was the victim of sexual violence but he died from a bullet. He was shot dead. So he was also the victim of gun violence. Nathan Breeze was the victim of natural violence in the form of Australia's deadliest ever bushfire. Actually, a mega firestorm. And that one was on the 7th of February 2009. So I underlined this date because of Nathan, actually. It was because I heard the song Bonfire Heart on the 21st of the 12th, and that happened to be 55 days before Valentine's Day, is the reason I underlined that date. I thought something's going to happen on that date. Dead equals 14. 14th of February. Valentine's Day, Ash Wednesday. I did have a thought a couple of days ago about when will the next big mass shooting be in America, but I wasn't thinking about it in connection to the prophecy of Jacob and Nathan. It was just a thought I had, which just shows how often this stuff keeps happening in America. The fact that thought even came to me. So yeah, just another day in America and another mass shooting. It's becoming quite predictable. And the response of the president, just to say, oh yeah, this is terrible, this is bad. Yeah. Thoughts and prayers go out to the victims, yeah. What about actually doing something about the ready availability of firearms in the United States? Something to actually prevent it from happening again next week or next month. I would have thought that's fairly logical, personally.
This is CNN Breaking News. Good evening, I'm Jim Sciutto in for Aaron Burnett. Out front tonight, breaking news, you might say heartbreaking news. A heartbreaking day in Florida, and sadly an all too familiar one. 17 people are now confirmed dead. We know at least 3 people still in critical condition, after police say that a shooter, believed to be just 19 years old, opened fire at his former high school. Over and over again this year, we have seen heard and reported on sad and harrowing scenes like this one. How many depends on how you define a school shooting. This is the fourth shooting at a middle or high school just this year in 2018. You see chaos, terrified students, their hands on their heads, running to safety, frightened parents rushing to the school, waiting word on their children. Are they dead or alive? And watching, as you see here, heavily armed SWAT teams, armored vehicles surrounding Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. According to students, it was about 2:30 in the afternoon, just 10 minutes before the end of the school day, when the fire alarm went off. And that, they say, is when the gunman began shooting.
I heard screaming. I heard about 5, 6 gunshots. We thought they were firecrackers because it sounded like them. We weren't sure what was used. And we heard the police yelling. We heard banging on the doors.
It's insane. It's unnecessary. There's no words to describe how I feel right now. Like I was shaking. I was panicking. It was all out panic throughout the school.
Panic. The school was quickly put on lockdown. This picture from a student huddled on the floor after hearing shot after shot. Police say the shots fired from both inside and outside the school. The victims, both students and adults. Many students hiding in their classrooms and closets for more than an hour until authorities were able to track the gunman down. Law enforcement sources tell CNN the man that you see here is the suspected shooter, handcuffed in police custody. His name, Nicholas Cruz. We are told that he was taken without incident at the high school. President Trump tweeting shortly after, quote, "My prayers and condolences to the families and the victims of the terrible Florida shooting. No child, teacher, or anyone else should ever feel unsafe in an American school." It is the kind of official response we've heard after each of these deadly shootings. Rosa Flora is out front near the high school in Parkland, Florida. Rosa, what are you learning just in the last hour about what authorities know about the shooter and the shooting tonight?
You know, at this hour, Jim, we're learning that a bomb squad is scouring through this school. Now, we've learned that the school is a very big building. It's got portable buildings as well. So they're doing this as a precautionary measure. Now, this is after 4 to 5 SWAT teams swept the entire building to make sure that the building was safe. The bomb squad now inside, and we're told that once that happens...
I'm pretty sure most Americans support bringing in some decent, logical gun law reform. So you call yourselves a democracy, but the majority of people are overruled by a group of Republican diehard gun fanatics. That's basically what I see in America today.